In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a scatter plot and how to calculate the correlation coefficient in SPSS. We'll also briefly go over how to open an SPSS data file that you've already saved previously and how to write results for the correlation coefficient. So first off, in order to open up an SPSS data file that you've already saved previously, I can click on File, Open, Data. And then from here, I'm just going to find that file and open it just like I would any other file, just like we talked about opening an Excel file in our last SPSS video. So specifically, I want to make sure that I'm looking in the correct folder where that file is saved up here, and making sure that I'm looking for the correct file type down here. And then I can just click my correct data file and hit open. But here I've already opened this, so I'm going to hit cancel. And a second way I can do this is by hitting this file folder icon, and same thing here, select my correct file and hit open. So this is the data file that we were looking at in our last video. We'll continue using this for this example as well. Note that we did calculate the z-scores for some of our variables, our numeric variables specifically, in the last video. And we know that we use our z-scores in order to calculate the correlation coefficient, but it's important to know that I don't have to calculate my z-scores in SPSS before I calculate my correlation coefficient. And to show that, I'm actually going to take these 3 columns, and I'm just going to go ahead and clear them out so we can see this correlation coefficient without already calculating my z-scores. In order to calculate a scatter plot, I'm going to hit on Graphs here and select Legacy Dialogues, which we said is typically going to be the place where we go under Graphs when we're looking to create any kind of a graph. And here I'm going to go down to Scatter Dot. There's a couple of different kinds of scatter plots that I can use and that I can select here. Simple scatter is going to be the default selection, and that's what I want. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Define. And under Define, it's going to ask me to answer a couple of things here. To create a regular, typical scatter plot, I only have to choose my y-axis and my x-axis variables. And I have to make sure that in this case, typically I'm going to be wanting to use one of my numeric variables, since I'm going to be creating this scatter plot before my correlation coefficient analysis, which will use 2 numeric variables. So I want to visualize this relationship before calculating that information. And in this case, I'm going to select timing and rating. And I have to decide which one that I want on the x-axis and which I want on the y-axis. And this doesn't really matter, although we might have preferences at times. In this case, I'm going to put rating on the y-axis and timing on the x-axis. And then I can go ahead and hit OK. We know that while we're using the information from our data window, we can expect our scatter plot to appear in our output window. And just like the graphs that we saw with making a histogram in our last SPSS video, I can go ahead and click on this scatter plot, and I can change some information about it, change some of the properties of this, and it will continue to save in my output file. So for instance, I can go ahead and it's a little harder sometimes to click on these titles, and I can go ahead and change the mean here. So for instance, instead of timing, reaction time might be a little more helpful, a little more of a descriptive title here. So I can save that. I can also change the scale here. So here our scale for rating. Looks like we're starting at 0 here with the scale from 1 to 5. Here we're starting, I can check the scale here. And we're starting with our origin at 0, but our minimum value at 2.5. This is reaction times, and we're presenting sentences in this study to participants. So it's unlikely people are going to react very, very fast, but we can, for instance, change this to 1.5, for instance. And we can maybe keep that at 4.5. If I apply this, we can see things do shift over a little bit. So we can consider maybe what we want the scale to be, and that's going to affect how our data is presented. But again, right now I'm just showing you this for the purposes of showing you that you can change the scale. You can also change the increment. Here we see this, the increment here is 1.5 to 2.5, so we're going up by increments of 0.5. I can change that to 1 if I want. Maybe I start at 2, maximum of 5. So that's a little bit nicer. So I can go ahead and close that. I can insert a title here if I want. Go ahead and change that text. And so I have these different options of how to manipulate the scatter plot. I can go ahead and just X out of that. And again, we see that those changes are saved in my output file. At this point, if I was doing this analysis for real, at this point, what I would want to do is get my descriptive statistics. Since we already did that for these variables in our last video, I'm not going to go ahead and do that right now. But if you'd like to review how to find the descriptive statistics in SPSS, you can go ahead and check out that video to review that concept. But here I'm just going to get my correlation coefficient. I'm going to hit Analyze, and I'm going to go down to Correlate. And in this case, I'm going to select bivariate. And typically, when we're getting our standard correlation coefficient, this is exactly what we're going to use. There's some other kinds of analyses that we might use, for instance, partial correlation, but here we want to get our bivariate correlation. And just as we've come to expect from SPSS, this is going to give us options with all of our possible variables here on the left, and a way of moving them over to our variables box that will be used in our analysis. We already said that we want to use timing and rating, and to select both of these at the same time, I'm using a PC. I can just hit my control key. So you can go ahead and select both and move them over. If for some reason I can't do that, I can just select them one by one, and that's fine. And always, if I selected the wrong thing, so for instance, if I had age in here, I can just make sure that's highlighted, bring it back into my box with all of my variables, and go ahead and select the correct one that I want. What we're doing right here in this kind of a correlation coefficient that we're looking for is a Pearson correlation. And so we have that selected. We also have the option for selecting a one-tailed or a two-tailed test for our test of significance, which gives us our p-value. I'm going to go ahead and leave that as two-tailed right now. I can also always check in on what I can do in my options. And so, for instance, I can check off means and standard deviations if I want those as well. And I can click continue to get out of my options box. And here everything's the way I want it. So I can go ahead and click OK. And again, looking for this information, these results in my output section here. And so I can go ahead and interpret the statistics that I'm given here. And so, for instance, I have my descriptive statistics here, so we can get that within the correlation window. And I also have my information here for my correlation. Specifically, what I'm getting here is I'm going to see that there's a column that says timing and rating, and then we have 3 rows that also are labeled timing and 3 rows labeled rating. For timing and timing, we see the correlation is 1, and this is really not informative. This is the correlation of timing with itself, so we would expect this to be a perfect positive correlation, and so we're really not going to pay attention to that. What we really want to look at is the correlation between timing and rating. And because it gives us this kind of a table, we actually get that information twice. So we can look here for timing and rating, or down here for rating and timing, and that doesn't matter. And you can see that we have the exact same results in both of these places. Here, this gives us the number of participants, the number of people that we have in our study. We have our correlation. This is our R variable, our correlation coefficient, which we see here is a negative 0.787. And we can see that the asterisks there mark that the significance level for that. And we can see here the significance level, that p-value that we have for the correlation coefficient. And so last but not least, we're going to go ahead and just like we did last time, we're going to insert either new text or a new title. I'm going to insert that. In this case, it inserted right below here, so that's fine. I can also select this and put it in below. Doesn't matter where that is, but so I'm going to type in here just my results, and this just keeps everything nice and organized in one spot. And so that I can make sure that I have these results. And I'm just using this as an example here of how you would write up these results in a results section in APA format. And having this information here would allow me to just take this information out and put it in my results section when I was ready to write that paper. And so there's a couple of different ways to do that. So I'll actually model one in this text box, and I'll model a second version in the bottom here. And here, this might change a little bit depending on whether that correlation is significant or not. In this case, this correlation is significant. And so let's take a look at how we might say this. So for instance, we could say, type in this box, there was a significant correlation between, we want to name our variables here, between reading and reaction time. Note that I'm using the more descriptive variable term here. And then we're going to give those statistical language that describes that correlation. So we're going to give R equals point, or negative here, negative point, rounding to 2 decimal places, 0.78, N equals 12, and P equals 0.002. And remember that for our symbols, we're typically going to italicize these for those statistical symbols. And I can also be a little more descriptive here and say something like higher readings. So this is kind of giving that results that we see in that statistical language, giving that in plain language as well here. So for instance, higher readings were associated with higher and longer reaction time. So another way for me to do this would be for rating and reaction times. Reaction time was positively correlated with readings, and give in parentheses that same information that we have up here. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and see if I can copy this up here to add this in this section. And same thing, I can say something like higher readings were associated with longer reaction time. And so again, I want to give that result in statistical language as well as in plain language. Make sure that I'm italicizing those symbols. If it will let me, and if it won't let me here in SPSS, I can go ahead and make sure that I'm doing that in whatever file that I'm writing my results in. So let's try one more analysis here. So correlate bivariate. And for instance, I can try age and timing if I had a reason to believe that maybe that was something that would be significant. And here we actually do see this might not be meaningful. It's possible for us to sometimes something might be correlated, but that might not be meaningful. And so you can, at least we see that process one more time. But since I don't have any predictions about this, I can just leave that alone. And maybe this is the only one that I really care about to write up in my results. This is the thing I was looking for perhaps in my study. And again, we always want to make sure to remember to save our output. And so I'm actually going to save this as POV and sentence type, or for correlation, and save that. And we're all set.